Good morning, students. I hope you are all doing good. Let us see what we are going to discuss in today's class. Good morning, ma. In previous class, we have seen that second step, that is extraction of metal. In that second step, again we have two steps, ma. That is, after concentration of 4, we will be remained with Mx plus infusible impurities. First, we will convert that metallic compound into oxide. Conversion of the metallic compound into oxide is first step in extraction of metal. And second one, conversion of this metallic oxide to metal by the process of reduction. Like the two steps we have seen. And what are the process involved? Roasting, everything we have seen in the previous class. Okay, so here various types of reducing agents we can use to convert that metallic oxide to metal. To convert that metallic oxide to metal, we can use various types of reducing agents. Okay, and even thermodynamic principles also we have seen. Thermodynamic principles of metallurgy. Delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. And finally we came to one conclusion that delta G, if it is negative, the reaction is spontaneous. If delta G is negative, then the reaction is spontaneous. Like that in the previous class, we came to one conclusion. Okay, ma? Now, if coupling of the two reactions, that is reduction and oxidation, like that in today's class we will continue. Before going to that one, selection of reducing agent means depending on the temperature range, which reducing agent we can select. Okay, and at what temperature we can take that reducing agent. All these things will be known for us by using the diagram that is called Ellingham diagram. Okay, before going to that Ellingham diagram, I want to explain little bit about this one for you. After that we will explain that Ellingham diagram, which is very important for NEET also. Even CBSE, for NEET also it is very important, this Ellingham diagram. First, let us consider this is entirely related to conversion of metallic oxide to metal only. I told clearly selection of reducing agent. Is it right? So here this step is involved with conversion of metallic oxide to metal. This step is mainly involved with conversion of metallic oxide to metal by the selection of suitable reducing agent. Is it okay? That reducing agent we are going to consider now. Okay, ma. Now, for our convenience, I am going to take first reaction XM plus half O2 gives rise to MXO. Actually, metallic oxide should undergo reduction only, losing of oxygen. But in a reverse way, why I am taking, metal is going to react with oxygen to form metallic oxide. Why I am taking this step, you will understand clearly, no problem. First thing is, XM, metal is going to combine with oxygen to form MXO. Is it okay, ma? This is first reaction. Equation 1. For this reaction, what is the delta G? Delta G for this reaction is XM comma MXO. Meaning of this one, this reaction delta G is conversion of XM to MXO, na? So I wrote XM comma MXO. Is it okay, ma? Next one. I am going to take one reducing agent like carbon, ma. Carbon is going to react with half O2. Carbon is going to react with half O2 to form CO, carbon monoxide. Carbon is going to react with half O2 to form CO, carbon monoxide. This is equation 2. For this delta G is delta G of C comma CO. Delta G of C comma CO. Next. One more reducing agent I am going to select, that is CO, carbon monoxide. Here reducing agent is carbon, here reducing agent is carbon monoxide. CO plus half O2 gives rise to CO2. This is third equation. For this, what is the delta G? Delta G of CO comma CO2. Delta G of CO comma CO2. Like this, I got three equations, ma. What are those three equations? Conversion of metal to metallic oxide, conversion of carbon to carbon monoxide, conversion of carbon monoxide to CO2. See, if you take this equation, conversion of C to CO is nothing but this is acting as a reducing agent. And here this is the reducing agent. Is it okay, ma? Remember these three equations. By using these three equations, I am going to explain Ellingham diagram easily. See, first I am going to do one thing, that is equation 2 minus equation 1, that is subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. Subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. Then I am going to write it as C plus half O2 gives rise to CO delta G of C comma CO. XM plus half O2 gives rise to MXO delta G of XM comma MXO. This is equation 2, this is equation 1. I am subtracting this equation 1 from equation 2. Minus, minus, minus. This one will be cancelled. Then you will get C minus XM is equal to CO minus MXO. C minus XM is equal to gives rise to CO minus MXO. For this overall reaction, this is the overall reaction obtained by subtracting equation from equation 2 on. Then I am going to write for this reaction. This is equation 4. For this equation, delta G is equal to equation 2 minus equation 1 delta G of C comma CO minus delta G of XM comma MXO. Are you okay? For this reaction, delta RG means delta G gives free energy, change in gives free energy for this reaction 4 is equal to delta G of C comma CO minus delta G of XM comma MXO. This negative value I am sending right side and this negative value I am sending left side. Then you will get MXO. If it comes negative charge this side, it will be getting positive. MXO plus C gives rise to XM plus CO. MXO plus C gives rise to XM plus CO. For this overall reaction, delta G is equal to delta G of C comma CO minus delta G of XM comma MXO. delta G of C comma CO minus delta G of XM comma MXO. This is the overall reaction we got. Please observe carefully. This is only our equation, conversion of metallic oxide to metal. Is it right? Conversion of metallic oxide to metal in the presence of reducing agent carbon. Now whether we have to select carbon or not, that one we want to check. In what way? If this reaction is spontaneous, if equation 4, this is equation 4 only, just by adjusting MXO left side and XM, this is equation 4 only. If equation 4 is to be spontaneous, comma, delta Rg of this reaction must be negative. Delta Rg of this reaction must be negative. Then at what condition this value will be negative? Meaning of this one, observe. Delta Rg is equal to delta G of C comma CO minus delta G of XM comma MXO. Is it right? Here delta Rg must be negative. Must be negative meaning delta G of C comma CO, delta G of C comma CO must be less than delta G of XM comma MXO. If this is smaller value and this is greater value, let us take this is 2 and this is 4. 2 minus 4, you will get negative value. Then the reaction is spontaneous. Is it right? Then what is the meaning of this one? Every time C comma CO, that means reducing agent, delta G of reducing agent must be less than delta G of metallic oxide. If this is happened, delta G is negative. If equation 4 is to be spontaneous, that means this reaction must be spontaneous. Then only metallic oxide can be converted to metal. Is it right? And we can select this carbon also as a reducing agent when delta G of C comma CO, when delta G of C comma CO is less than delta G of XM comma MXO. Delta G of C comma CO is less than delta G of XM comma MXO. Then only we can say carbon is suitable reducing agent. Is it okay, ma? Not only carbon. If you take another one, suppose example, equation 3, let us consider. Equation 3. Now what I am going to do? Now here we have done equation 2 minus equation 1. Like that I am going to take equation 3 minus equation 1. Equation 3 minus equation 1 means equation 3 CO plus half O2 gives rise to CO2. For this delta G is delta G of CO comma CO2. Next, XM plus half O2 gives rise to MXO. For this, what is the delta G? Delta G of XM comma MXO. Subtract. Minus, minus, minus. Half O2 got cancelled. CO minus XM gives rise to CO2 minus MXO. For this, delta RG is equal to delta G of CO comma CO2 minus delta G of XM comma MXO. For this resultant reaction, delta G is equal to, because this one value minus this one value, so delta G of CO comma CO2 minus delta G of xm comma mxo. Now this negative value I am bringing this side and this negative value I am sending that side. Then it will become mxo plus co gives rise to xm plus co2. For this net delta G is equal to delta G of co comma co2 minus delta G of xm comma mxo. Here also we got this condition for the conversion of metallic oxide to metal by using CO. Here by using C. That means here we want to select reducing agent, means this is the condition. We want to use this reducing agent, means this is the condition. Like that, if you want to use CO as the reducing agent, if you want to use CO as the reducing agent, what is the condition? This equation must be spontaneous. For this equation to be spontaneous, delta G must be negative. Delta Rg must be negative. Delta Rg must be negative means the condition will be delta G of CO comma CO2 must be less than delta G of xm comma mxo. So whatever the reducing agent we are going to select, in previous also, see, if you want to select carbon as the reducing agent, its Gibbs energy for the conversion of carbon to carbon monoxide must be less than delta G of metal. Next, if you want to select CO as the reducing agent, its Gibbs energy change from CO to CO2 means by gaining oxygen should be less than delta G of xm such that mxo. So finally, what is the conclusion? From these 2 points, what is the conclusion we can understand? If you want to select a suitable reducing agent, that reducing agent Gibbs energy must be less than metal conversion Gibbs energy. Every time reducing agent Gibbs energy must be less than metal Gibbs energy. Reducing agent Gibbs energy must be less than metal Gibbs energy. If you remember this point, easily Ellingham diagram can be understood. Are you okay, ma? See, this is one observation. This reaction to be spontaneous if you take CO as reducing agent. This reaction is spontaneous if CO as reducing agent. This is the condition. Next. If this reaction is to be spontaneous, if you take C as reducing agent, this is the condition. So wherever we have seen this delta G of reducing agent is less than delta G of metal conversion. Is it okay, ma? I hope you are clear. Now we will see what is that Ellingham diagram, and from that Ellingham diagram what we can understand we will see, ma. Up to here whatever I explained, I hope you are clear only. This much explanation I gave. Actually in CBSE textbook or any other thing also, this much explanation was not given, ma, because for understanding the Ellingham diagram easily, this much explanation is required. For this, what is the conclusion I brought finally? Whatever the reducing agent we are going to select, that reducing agent will be converted from gaining oxygen to be converted to other form, correct or not? For that, Gibbs energy will be there. That Gibbs energy must be less than the Gibbs energy of metal. Okay. Now what we are going to do? We have taken individual process. This is metal conversion. This is carbon conversion. And this is carbon monoxide conversion. Correct? Different reactions we have taken and we have coupled the reactions. This is called coupling of the two reactions. Different reactions we have taken. Now I want to select carbon as the reducing agent. For that, this second equation is combined with first equation. Is it correct? Like that, if I want to select CO as the reducing agent, I combine this third equation with first equation. Like that, we are combining two equations. That process is called coupling of the equations. Okay? Coupling of the reactions leads to, finally, we understood with one point, that is, every time reducing agent Gibbs energy change must be less than change in Gibbs energy of metal to metallic oxide. Is it right? Now we have to see what about the Ellingham diagram. Let us see, ma. This is the Ellingham diagram that was given in our textbook. Okay. Now observe this diagram. On x-axis they have taken temperature. On x-axis they have taken temperature. On y-axis they have taken delta G values. Are you okay? On y-axis they have taken delta G values. Now, so many curves we have. By observing those many curves, we will get confusion. So do one thing. I want to select carbon as the reducing agent. I want to select carbon as the reducing agent. C plus O2 gives rise to CO. Let us observe that line. This is the C plus O2 gives rise to CO line. Are you okay, ma? Next. Let us consider Zn as the metal. I want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc metal. Carbon as the reducing agent for zinc metal. I hope you are understanding, ma. One more time. I want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc metal. Now, this is the zinc metal curve line. And this is the carbon reducing agent line. Okay? What did we understand from our conclusion? That is, every time reducing agent Gibbs energy conversion must be less than metallic oxide Gibbs energy change. That means this line every time, this line must be above the line of carbon. This line must be above the line of carbon. See, on y-axis they have taken 0 here. Minus 100, minus 200, minus 300. Like this, 0 to here, value decreases, ma. This is minus 1200. 0, minus 100, minus 200. Which is higher value? Minus 100. Which is lower value? Minus 200. Means this is 0. This is the 0. All are negative values. Below 1 are smaller value when compared to above 1. Is it correct or not? That means every time reducing agent Gibbs energy must be lower than Gibbs energy of metal. Gibbs energy of reducing agent must be lower than Gibbs energy of metal. See, this is lower value, below, above, higher value. If you see carbon and zinc, I want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc. Then this line of carbon, Gibbs energy line of carbon reducing agent must be below the line of zinc. Line of carbon must be below the line of zinc. See, observe the point here. From here it is above. This zinc line is above. From here, carbon line is below. That means this point, observe this below, this is 800 degrees centigrade. Right side of this 800 degrees centigrade. Above 800 degrees centigrade, observe the points clearly, ma. Above 800 degrees centigrade, this zinc line is above than carbon line. Right side of 800, this is the point I took, ma, 800 degrees centigrade. Right side of 800 degrees centigrade, that means 900, 1000, 1200, like that. In all these values, carbon value is below, zinc value is above. Is it right? This is the carbon value and this is the zinc value. Zinc value is above and carbon value is below. That means we have to select, if you want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc, above 800 degrees only we have to consider temperature. If you want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc, okay, we want to maintain the temperature above 800 degrees centigrade. Below 800 degrees centigrade, carbon line is above, see left side, left side of this point, carbon line is above, zinc line is below. That means left side of 800 degrees centigrade, carbon is not suitable reducing agent for zinc because carbon delta G value is greater when compared to delta G of zinc. Are you understanding? I hope you are understanding. Very slowly I am teaching because in this one only maximum students they will get confusion. That's why once again I am showing that this is the point of intersection between zinc line and carbon line. Now again I am mentioning the point, that is I want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc. Then that carbon Gibbs energy delta G must be lower than zinc. That is only we concluded here. Whenever we took reducing agent, see carbon, the delta G of carbon to carbon monoxide must be lower than delta G of XM to MXO, XM to MXO, Zn to ZnO line must be above when compared to carbon, C to CO. Is it right? Then I am observing this point of intersection at 800 degrees centigrade. Right side of this 800 degrees centigrade, carbon value, that is carbon line, is below than zinc line. So I am concluding that if you want to select carbon as the reducing agent for zinc, we need to maintain temperature above 800 degrees centigrade. We need to maintain temperature above 800 degrees centigrade. Next, one more example. Let us see aluminum and magnesium. Let us see aluminum. This is aluminum line and this is magnesium line. Now I want to select aluminum as the reducing agent for magnesium. Please observe, I am taking which one as reducing agent correctly. I want to select aluminum as the reducing agent for magnesium. Then aluminum line must be below than magnesium line. For which one we are going to select it as a reducing agent, its line must be below the metallic oxide line. So if you want to select aluminum as the reducing agent, its line must be below magnesium line for magnesium. Okay, now observe this point. That's why they kept point here. That point is at some here 1300 degrees centigrade, 1200, 1600, 400 difference. That means here 1400 degrees centigrade. So this point is mentioning 1400 degrees centigrade. Above that 1400 degrees centigrade, that means right side, this magnesium line is above, aluminum line is below. Is it right? So if you want to select aluminum as the reducing agent for magnesium, temperature must be above 1400 degrees centigrade. Temperature must be above 1400 degrees centigrade. That is the meaning. If you want to select aluminum as the reducing agent for magnesium, temperature must be above 1400 degrees centigrade. If you take temperature below 1400 degrees centigrade, magnesium is useful for reducing agent for aluminium. Magnesium is used as reducing agent for aluminium, left side. So according to this curves, this is called Ellingham diagram. According to this curves, we can understand at what temperature and which reducing agent we can select. Which reducing agent we can select for particular metal. I hope you understood, ma. Now, what is the point they gave? Let us see once. As we have seen, heating favors a negative value of delta G. Therefore, the temperature is chosen such that the sum of delta G in the two combined redox processes is negative. In delta G versus T plots, Ellingham diagram, this is indicated by the point of intersection of the two curves, meaning one curve and another curve will be intersected. Right side of the temperature, if line 1 is above below than 2, then that below line can be selected as reducing agent for above line. Okay, this is indicated by the point of intersection of the two curves, that is the curve for the formation of MXO and then for the formation of oxide of the reducing substance. After that point, right side, the delta G value becomes more negative for the combined process, making the reduction of MXO possible. The difference in the two delta G values after that point determines whether reduction of the oxide of the element of the upper line is feasible by the element of which oxide formation is represented by the lower line. If the difference is large, the reduction is easier. If the difference is large means if the lines are deviated highly right side, then reduction is getting easier. Means at higher temperatures the reduction will be getting easy because capital T value is getting increased, T delta S value is getting increased, and delta G is getting more negative at higher temperatures. That's why generally at higher temperatures only this reducing agent selection will be happened easily. Are you okay, ma? Once again, I will just write the concluded points in this Ellingham diagram. By showing the diagram one more time, I will explain. If you have any slight doubts in that explanation, you can clarify. But before that, till now whatever it is explained, I hope you are clear. If you want to select any reducing agent, that reducing agent delta G value must be lower than the delta G of metal. That is our conclusion. According to that only we worked with Ellingham diagram. That point we got from combining these equations. Till now I explained. Okay, ma? I hope you are clear up to this also. Now after some time, means next we will see that in what way we are going to explain once again. Just few points one more time I will explain, ma. After that we will move to next one. Is it okay? So see here, ma, by using this Ellingham diagram easily we can say at what temperature range we can select particular reducing agent for the particular metal. Okay, till now whatever it is explained, I hope you are clear. Suppose if you want this carbon to carbon monoxide, that means this carbon as the reducing agent for iron. This is iron curve and this is carbon curve. Those point of intersection is here. Okay, so when the difference is getting more, this difference is getting more at higher temperatures only. Is it right? This difference is getting more at higher temperatures only. So at higher temperatures this process is getting easy. The reduction process is getting easy. So this carbon curve is below than iron curve after this point of intersection. That point of intersection is 400 degrees centigrade. Right side of this 400 degrees centigrade, carbon can be selected as a reducing agent for iron. That is the meaning. So observe the correct point of intersection, ma. Right side of the point of intersection, the temperature is mentioned, na. At the temperature range we can use the particular carbon as a reducing agent for iron. That is the meaning. To understand that only this much explanation was given. I hope you are clear. These are all included with heating energy. Okay, we have to heat that metallic oxide in presence of particular reducing agent ma, the metallurgy which is involved with heating is called pyrometallurgy. The metallurgy which is involved by heating is called pyrometallurgy. The metallurgy which is involved by electrical energy is called electrometallurgy. Thermodynamic and electric principles, like that we will say ma. Okay na? Now what about after completion of this one? We will see. By using this Ellingham diagram, and this Ellingham diagram is going to be applied in the extraction of various metals. Till now we have explained that by using Ellingham diagram we can select the temperature range and the suitable reducing agent easily. Is it right ma? So now in what way we are going to apply this Ellingham diagram in various extraction of metals? We will see first applications. Under applications A, extraction of iron from its oxides. First one is nothing but extraction of iron from its oxides. Extraction of iron from its oxides. First one, after concentration means after removal of fusible impurities, mixture of oxide ores of iron, that means ore is Fe2O3, Fe3O4. This is fully metallic compound oxide, metallic oxide, iron oxide, is subjected to calcination such that roasting. This is subjected to calcination such that roasting. These are the two steps which are involved to convert any water is there, any water molecules are present here, or any other thing is to be converted to oxide, Fe2O3, Fe3O4. Because any water is present here, it will be gone out by calcination such that roasting. By using that, we will get purely metallic oxides, Fe2O3, Fe3O4. To remove water, to decompose carbonates and to oxidize sulfides, calcination such that roasting will be useful. Okay. After that, these are mixed with limestone and coke and fed into a blast furnace. This ore is mixed with limestone and coke. Coke is nothing but carbon only ma. Limestone formula CaCO3. Limestone formula CaCO3. Coke is nothing but C. These are mixed with Fe2O3, Fe3O4, that means ore, and sent into a blast furnace from its top, in which the oxide is reduced to the metal. Okay. Now, in this reaction, this oxide is going to be converted to metal, iron ma. Now, what is this blast furnace? All these things we will see by using the diagram. See carefully. This is the blast furnace. Ore plus limestone plus coke. Ore plus limestone plus coke is fed into blast furnace. This is fully blast furnace. Sent here. Slowly that ore plus limestone plus coke is falling into the blast furnace. This blast furnace is maintained at different temperatures. This is not small one ma. It is very big. Almost 2 to 3 floors big building is there na. Like that it will be. It is maintained at different temperatures. Higher 1070, middle 1270 and 1570, lower high temperature 2170. Okay na? When this ore is coming down from below, blast of air and oxygen, that means oxygen and air is going to be sent into blast furnace. Okay, in the presence of this air and oxygen, this ore will undergo reduction to metal iron. Are you okay, ma? See, molten iron is formed. That molten iron is separated in the form of liquid state. That liquid state iron is called molten iron. Is separated down. This is slag is there, na? This slag is nothing but this ore, limestone and coke contains infusible impurities also. Is it okay? That infusible impurities react with suitable flux here itself, and it is converted to slag, molten slag. This is separated in one side and iron is separated one side. This is impure iron. Okay, this is the equipment which we are going to use. This is called blast furnace. Now, in what way we are going to explain these reactions? Observe carefully. A blast of hot air is blown from the bottom of the furnace by burning coke in the lower portion to give temperature up to about 2200 Kelvin, below 2200 Kelvin. The burning of coke therefore supplies most of the heat required in the process. Okay, the CO and heat move to the upper part. In below region, carbon is converted to various regions. They give the reactions. See first. Below region, carbon is reacted with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Okay, next. First thing is this carbon, some amount of carbon is going to react with oxygen to form CO2. That is escaped. It will go to upper region. Next, FeO is there, na? 1 second, ma. Better to see from above, from here to here, down. Now see. CaCO3, limestone. Limestone is nothing but CaCO3. The CaCO3 is converted to CaO plus CO2. At what region? 500 to 800 Kelvin. That means in this region, CaCO3 is converted to CaO plus CO2. Okay. Now, next one. Fe2O3 is going to react with CO to form Fe3O4 plus CO2. This Fe3O4 again reacts with CO to form 3FeO plus CO2. 900 to 1500 Kelvin, these are the reactions involved. FeO plus CO gives rise to Fe plus CO2. Carbon plus CO2 gives rise to CO. Actually here, calcium oxide is SiO2 is the waste, infusible impurity. It is mixed with CaO to form slag, CaSiO3, calcium silicate. Burning of coke, C plus O2 gives rise to CO2. Now we will see the theory part. We will understand easily, no problem. Now let us see, A blast of hot air is blown from the bottom of the furnace by burning coke in the lower portion to give temperature up to about 2200 Kelvin. The burning of coke therefore supplies most of the heat required in the process. Next, the CO and heat move to the upper part of the furnace. First, in the lower part, CO is formed. Carbon reacts with oxygen to form CO. That CO slowly it will reach to the upper part, as well as heat energy also. In upper part, the temperature is lower and the iron oxides Fe2O3 and Fe3O4 coming from the top. Here Fe2O3 and Fe3O4 from ore, they are coming down. In this region itself, they will react with carbon monoxide. In upper part, the temperature is lower and the iron oxides Fe2O3 and Fe3O4 coming from the top are reduced in steps to FeO. Okay, ma? Fe2O3 and Fe3O4, they can be converted into FeO at upper region. Okay, coming from the top are reduced in steps to FeO. These reactions can be summarized as follows. At 500 to 800 Kelvin, lower temperature range in the blast furnace, Fe2O3 is first reduced to Fe3O4 and then to FeO. For that, what is the suitable reducing agent? CO is the suitable reducing agent. For that, what is the suitable reducing agent? CO. Now observe here. Coming to Ellingham diagram of this one. This is Fe to FeO. Blue line. CO to CO2. This is black line. This black line and this navy blue line meet at point here. That is temperature almost 1000 to 1500 degrees centigrade. Okay, right side of that only we can select CO as the reducing agent for this conversion. CO as the reducing agent for this conversion, we have to select right side. That means above 1300 degrees centigrade only we have to select. Is it okay, ma? Now see. We are going to select CO as the reducing agent for the conversion of Fe2O3. CO as the reducing agent for the conversion of Fe2O3. These are the steps involved at the range of 500 to 800 Kelvin. Fe2O3 plus CO gives rise to Fe3O4 plus CO2. Again that Fe3O4 reacts with again CO to form iron plus CO2. Fe2O3 again reacts with CO to form 2FeO plus CO2. In this way, reduction is going to be happen from Fe2O3 to Fe3O4, again Fe3O4 to Fe, again Fe2O3 to FeO. Is it okay? Limestone is also decomposed to CaO, which removes silicate impurity. Silicate is the infusible impurity in this one. It is going to combine with CaO, which is produced from limestone, to be formed as a silicate impurity, okay, of the ore as slag. The slag is in molten state and separates out from iron. Next, at 900 to 1500 Kelvin, higher temperature range in the blast furnace, carbon coke is there, it will react with CO2 gas which is produced in the down region to be formed as CO again. Again this CO is going to react with FeO here. This FeO is going to react with CO to form iron plus carbon dioxide. Again iron is formed. This iron fully in the form of liquid state, slowly it will run down and it will be separated in the bottom. Okay, thermodynamics helps us to understand how coke reduces the oxide and why this furnace is chosen. One of the main reduction steps in this process involves reaction 6.27 given below. FeO plus C gives rise to Fe plus CO. This is one of the important steps. FeO plus C gives rise to Fe plus CO. This reaction can be seen as a reaction in which two simpler reactions have coupled. Previously I explained like the two simple reactions they have written. In one the reduction of FeO is taking place and in the other C is being oxidized, like that. In these two processes delta G value we have observed, and if you want to select carbon as a reducing agent, this delta G value must be lower than delta G of iron. Naturally, the resultant reaction will take place when the right hand side in equation 6.3 is negative. That one only we told. In delta G versus T plot representing the change, Fe gives rise to FeO goes upward, and that representing the change C to CO goes downward. That means C, CO line should go down, Fe, FeO line should go above. That point of intersection right side only we have to select the temperature range. Okay, they cross each other at about 1073 Kelvin. Let us see Fe to FeO and C, CO. In Ellingham diagram, Fe comma FeO, this line ma, C comma CO, this line. This is above and this is below. This is the point of intersection. This is right side. Right side of this point of intersection only we have to select carbon as the reducing agent. Just 1 second ma. 1073 Kelvin. Actually, Fe comma FeO line is above and C comma CO line is below. Right side of this one temperature 673 Kelvin itself, but they mentioned 1073. But even it's no problem at higher temperatures only. But actually, the clarity for you, at this point of intersection, right side Fe comma FeO line is above, C comma CO line is below. So we can select this temperature above, then 673 Kelvin. It is enough. Okay, till now that one only I explained ma. See, the C comma CO line is below the Fe comma Fe line. So above 1073 Kelvin in the range of temperature 900 to 1500 Kelvin, coke will reduce FeO. Like that they are going to select a temperature range in the blast furnace also. Okay, it shall be oxidized. Let us try to understand this through figure 6.6 these values. By observing this Ellingham diagram, we can understand at what temperature range we can select CO as the reducing agent or C as the reducing agent. Is it okay? This is the explanation they gave. And finally we are going to get pig iron, which is impure iron. If that impure iron is getting purified, that is last step, we will get pure iron. That is the extraction of metal, iron. Okay, see. The iron obtained from blast furnace contains about 4% carbon and many impurities in smaller amount. This is known as pig iron. It can be molded into variety of shapes. Cast iron is different from pig iron and is made by melting pig iron with scrap iron and coke using hot air blast. It has slightly lower carbon content, about 3%, and is extremely hard and brittle. That is the pig iron. Cast iron. Pig iron has 4% carbon, cast iron has 3% carbon. Okay, final one. Wrought iron or malleable iron is the purest form of commercial iron and is prepared from cast iron by oxidizing impurities in a reverberatory furnace lined with hematite. The hematite oxidizes carbon to carbon monoxide. Fe2O3 is converted to Fe and carbon monoxide. By using this one, we are going to convert that impure iron to metal. Wrought iron. Wrought iron is the purest form. These terms you can remember well, ma. These are important for NEET also. Pig iron, cast iron and wrought iron. Percentage of carbon also you can remember. Pig iron percentage of carbon 4%, cast iron 3%. Wrought iron is the purest form in commercial iron. Okay, all these things you can remember, and these are the important points in NEET. This is about extraction of metal iron. Okay, ma. And in this way we are going to use Ellingham diagram, means in what temperature range which reducing agent will be useful, like that. According to Ellingham diagram only they are using, and they are going to extract different metals by applying different temperatures, ma. Okay, it is very useful for the extraction of metal. Ellingham diagram is very useful for the extraction of metal. I hope you are clear with extraction of iron. In next class we will see extraction of copper and extraction of aluminum also. Extraction of aluminum is required with electrical energy, that is called electrochemical principles, ma. That one also we will see in next class. By that maximum these two metals completed with second step. Extraction of metal will be completed, and finally we are going to be remain with refining process. Okay, ma. This is about today's class, and I hope you are clear about class. Any sort of doubts you can ask me through phone, over phone or by WhatsApp also. I will clarify your doubts. Thank you all. Have a nice day.